Welcome to A Canadian Investing in the U.S., a podcast and YouTube channel focused on Canadians buying real estate with host Glen Sutherland.
Welcome to a new episode of A Canadian Investing in the U.S. with Glen Sutherland. This week, my guest is Dave Mastronardi. Dave, you just want to start off by just telling people who you are, what you do, maybe some of your story.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Glenn. Well, thanks for having me. Number one, first and foremost. I run a real estate investment firm here in Canada, but primarily we focus in the U.S., southern U.S., Florida primarily. A lot of single-family homes and that kind of thing. Started out in Canada and Ontario with real estate investing, more commercial properties and some multifamily stuff. So that's kind of one part, and the other part, I'm a partner at Midfield Investments with several other partners, and our focus there is primarily multifamily in the Sunbelt states, and specifically we're focused on Texas right now.
Yeah. So maybe I'm not going to let you off the hook. So maybe tell me a little bit about your story, how you got to that point. What's the story to get to buying 100+ unit buildings? I'm guessing wasn't like the first purchase.
Yeah, for sure. No, absolutely. There's a little bit of a backstory. So I was kind of passively in real estate, but I was actually in industry. So I was the CEO of a large manufacturing company, 10 locations, a couple thousand employees kind of thing. Wow. So that was sold a few years ago. And real estate was always a passion of mine, but I did it more passively. Obviously, I didn't have a lot of time back then. Yeah. But then when that happened, it created an opportunity for me to then really focus on doing it full time, doing kind of more my passion, but doing it full time as my role. So I started Master Capital Group, which again, just to as a real estate investment firm. And then, as realized that over time, really to scale, you got to kind of go outside of what you're doing by yourself in your own deals and start to partner with people and GPs and LP structures and all that good stuff. So I started to kind of expand my horizons into that and take on some partners. And that's how we were able to do some larger stuff.
Yeah, no. And it was one of those lessons I wish I'd learned right from the start as well. Even I used to do all my own projects in Canada, and then I went to the US and I'm going to do my own projects in the US. Yeah. And it took me a while until I'm like, you know what? If I gave up a piece of this, I could do a lot more of these or something a lot bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you want to scale. I mean, if you want to, maintain a smaller portfolio and just self-fund it, that kind of thing, that's easier to do, I guess, from an entry-level perspective. If you really want to scale to thousands of units and across multiple states, and you need a team. You not only need a team operationally, but you need a strategy around capital raising and partnerships and GP structures and all that good stuff as well. It really is a team sport when you get into some of the bigger assets. And I've realized that over time. I had a little bit of tunnel vision in my earlier days, and
yeah, me too.
I can just do this myself. I don't really need anybody to do this, which you can. It's just you can't scale. Scaling is very difficult, and taking down these larger assets becomes difficult.
Yeah, and so maybe I'll transition to what we're kind of doing today. So for just to be full disclosure, I am working with Dave, right? So I'm not trying to slip this in, but I am kind of slipping it in. But so yeah, Dave and I and Evan and Pavel and Arlette, we're all working, and I think a couple other people, but we're working together to do something a lot bigger. You want to tell people a little bit what we're trying to achieve?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we're looking at acquiring a 120 unit asset in Montgomery, Texas, just northwest of Houston. Brand new asset, which is fantastic. It's not a value add play or we
are adding that, but it's not the plan, right? That's not we can achieve our goals without that.
Yeah, 100%. The value that's being added is more adding amenities. Yeah. It's not gutting the units and renovating the property because as I said, it's brand new. So we're buying them from the developer. This is the developer's 6th or 7th project. And it's in lease up phase, and there's a little bit of history behind why the property is available. It actually changed hands already and came back to the developer, which really created an opportunity for us to get in at a purchase price that's fantastic. I mean, we're we're into a brand new 120 unit building, just northwest of Houston for 142,000 a unit, which, when for Canadians listening, I mean, you can't touch that. It's double that price to buy anything multifamily in Ontario, and certainly not new. So, when you're looking at $142,000 a unit, which is a fantastic entry point, you have equity on the buy, with tremendous upside because of the location. Obviously Texas is great. Houston is growing exponentially, but Houston is getting expensive, so people are migrating north, so that they can still commute to Houston, but have kind of an affordable housing solution, and that's where some of the smaller areas like Montgomery County come into play.
Yeah, the way I like to look at it too is it's a lot similar, well, very similar to like Toronto versus the Muskokas, right? Like where, there's a lot of lakes and trees and that sort of cottagey feel being up there, but you still have the apartment buildings and everything mixed into that sort of. Hello, everybody. Thanks for listening to the podcast. I just wanted to let you know that I've created a new coaching program. I believe the new coaching program has way more value than any of the programs that have even existed in the past. What we've done is pre-recorded all the lessons so that you can work through it at your own pace, which is pretty cool. And then we're going to meet up on a regular basis to answer the questions, do deal analysis, and actually spend our time together working on things instead of spending our time learning things. I think this will make a seamless transition to buying in the United States and will help you solve a lot of your problems. If this is of interest to you, go to glensutherland.com/coaching. I hope to help you guys invest in the United States, and I hope we provide as much value as possible. Back to the podcast.
Yeah, 100%. And it's funny you say that because, Lake Conroe is right there, and it's 10 minutes away, not even, from the property. And so Lake Conroe is like the Muskoka, of Houston. It's cottage country, so it attracts a lot of different demographic there, which is great because some people that actually rent in the building have a place there to be close to cottage country, and then you have the other demographic, which is the people that actually work in Montgomery County or work in Houston, but again want cheaper accommodations and commute 40 minutes or whatever into Houston. But it's a great area because they're continuing to invest. There's a brand new Home Depot they just put there. HEB just bought a plot of land. So, these are all really good things it really cuts down on our market research time when Home Depot is doing the market research.
Even Starbucks, there's always like people do the Starbucks rule or the McDonald's rule.
Yeah.
Like just follow where they build their stuff because it's they've done way more research than you're ever going to be able to pull off.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, there's a Starbucks 2 miles from the property, so yeah. I think we can check that box too. So major fast food chains there, Super Walmart. They're just a variety of indicators. Even though it's a smaller community, it's obviously on the development path if they're dropping a brand new Home Depot in 2 miles from the property.
Well, yeah, I was looking at I went and like when we were first looking at this project, I was looking at it from Google Maps, and you could just go up and down that road, and some of the roads, adjacent or parallel to it, and you could see that there was like development happening. Like there was like first time I was zoomed out, I was like, "What's all this brown all around?"
Yeah.
Oh, they're actually digging. Like they're Google Maps it's being developed. The whole area it's changing and growing, and people you can tell that people are moving to that area and people want to be there when they see because all these developers wouldn't build all this stuff otherwise. It wouldn't make any sense.
For sure. Yeah, so you have the kind of the commercial guys out there, building the Home Depots and the Starbucks and all that. And then you have, the home builders. So there's several new communities that are going into that area as well, just new single family homes. So builders aren't going to start 1,000 home development without some data. So it's it's really, we were there just before Christmas and just surprised by the Google Maps don't do it justice. We were surprised by the level of construction and new development there.
Oh yeah. What else I was going to mention? Oh, what I thought was kind of unique about this deal, like it's new construction, but typically you don't get like a seller finance sort of situation on this. Usually it's, there's some sort of distress with a building, or there's a financing issue with a building, or there's usually something. But in this actual building there, we have negotiated seller financing with this project.
Yeah, which is fantastic. It's actually seller financing with very favorable terms, and that's the path to kind of get to HUD debt. Which
Yeah.
so we have seller financing as long as we need until we get to HUD financing. So really, there's not only is there equity on the buy, but very favorable terms from an interest perspective and from a term perspective from the seller. So it kind of checks all the boxes, and you know how it is. You have to look at 100 deals to find that one. This is that one. So we're pretty excited about this one.
Yeah, no, and it's one of those things too. Like I was, whenever I'm looking at, analyzing deals and looking at properties, I'm always looking for a creative side to this. I'm looking for a discount on the buy, and I'm looking for it to cash flow right from the start, because honestly, that's what people are looking for. If people want to like work with me or work with us or work with whoever on this, the ultimate goal is to actually get paid, right? I think most people, anyway. Maybe some people are just they're comfortable getting it later on, but I think it's going to make people a lot more comfortable when there's a safety element that it works right from day one.
Yeah, cash flow from day one is huge, especially like when you look at a lot of different projects. When you're adding significant value, especially, it's rare that there's cash flow from day one because you're putting in a ton of money. You're disrupting your income by getting rid of tenants, getting in new tenants, renovating units, all that good stuff. We're kind of not doing any of that. We're keeping the tenants, we're adding some amenities, and we're getting it leased up and with favorable debt terms. So yeah, it's really from a lot of the deals we looked at, it's certainly de-risked in the first year based on our terms and where the building's currently at.
And yeah, in this current market, that same strategy you were just mentioning of like doing the massive value add and basically having the ability to push rents way up, and which pushes your net operating income way up and increases the value way up. Um, Honestly, that's what I was looking for like 3 years ago, whenever the market was super hot, and my whole appetite has completely changed over the
Right.
last couple of years because I'm like, whenever I'm looking or doing any analysis on those sort of deals, um, that's the scary part. That's some of the people that got themselves in some trouble. Renovations take a couple years. During that time, the interest rates changed a lot. You go to refinance and it's not the same market, or at least financing market, that you thought you were going to be in, and that's why I like this kind of deal. I like something that works right from the start, because that I don't want to lose any money in that. That's
No,
honest truth.
100%. Sure.
Honest truth. I have more free content. So if you're interested, I created a PDF guide and a video to go along with the PDF guide to complement it. And what the guide is all about is the 5 most common mistakes that Canadians make when investing in the United States. So if you're interested in this free guide, go to canadianinvestingintheusa.com/mistakes. And let's go back to the podcast. And it's free.
For sure. The other value add play is not only the market risk and the financing risk to carry out the renovations. It's when you get into them and you uncover a whole other laundry list of things that perhaps weren't accounted for, or things take longer, or refilling the units after you've renovated. It's just there's certainly some risk there, and it's certainly doable. But to your point, when you can have more of a seamless straight line to cash flow, that's priority one. And then as you move away from that, you just increase risk on the deal.
Yep. Oh, I totally agree. Dave, was there anything I should have asked you about this project or brought up about the project?
I think we hit on all the highlights. Like I said, brand new building, fantastic location, equity on the buy to the tune of $2+ million. Like, just it has all the makings of a fantastic deal. And yeah, I mean, if someone is interested, they should reach out to you or me, and we can talk more about it. But it is a great opportunity closing in the next couple months.
Yeah. Oh, let's maybe do this. People are listening to this. Like literally 95% of people will listen to this as a podcast. Very few people you watch YouTube to watch the show. Maybe could you give me like a visual? Like what does this place look like? Is this a big square box? Like what does it look like? Because maybe some people might help them visualize what we're talking about.
Yeah, sure. So it's actually two different properties, 1 mile apart from each other, built about a year apart. And there's several buildings with 4 or 6 units in each building. So the first building is called Eagle's Nest, and it is 48 units. And then again, a mile down the road is 72 units called the Grand Monarch. But beautiful buildings, few stories, with like Grand Monarch, for example, has nice, stone facade on the buildings, modern blue and gray colors, just really nice overall. And then it's on a big lake area, like a man-made lake. So one of the amenities we're thinking about adding is doing like a walking and running trail around the lake, putting in like a barbecue and pergola area because it's like a nice treed area behind. So just nice overall properties. And as I said, a couple minutes to any potential big box store or Starbucks, type store that you need. So just overall great location, but just really nice modern looking buildings.
Yeah, that I describe it about the same. Okay, yeah. If people wanted to learn about this, reach out to Dave. I'll put his name or his comment or his email in the show notes. I'll put everything. Everyone has my name and email, but I'll put it in the show notes as well. This is one of those crazy properties. So if this is something interesting to you, I would reach out sooner than later. This is one of those ones that we have a lot of people that are interested in this, so I don't think there's going to be a lot of availability for a long period of time. But so if you are interested, just reach out and you can have just a casual conversation, or I can even send you some information on it just so you have an idea. Dave, if anyone wanted to track you down, maybe let's give them how they track you down, and then yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Email is usually the best. So dave@mastrocg.com is my primary email. And also I'm also on LinkedIn and, a variety of other sites, but LinkedIn primarily is probably the best way. Available anytime to chat. I love talking about real estate, and I especially love talking about our current Texas deals on the go.
Yeah, me too. Awesome. Thank you for coming on the show, Dave. That was great.
Yeah, no, I appreciate coming on, and thanks for taking the time out.
That was a nice video. Bye.